Hello, everyone. It's Michael Jaco with Unleashing Intuition Secrets. So, really good news. I got the LifeWave X2O water machine, and you guys are not going to hear any more coughing. At least I hope so. So, I've been having this cough, persistent cough, for months. When I got up here, I thought it was the higher elevation, but it was making it worse. I was like, God, I hope that water machine comes soon because I need that thing. And sure enough, after just a couple days, Friday and Saturday of using the water machine, my cough today is completely gone. I breathe better. My breathing was like getting really hard, right? So, no, not allergies. I don't have allergies. But yeah, it is. It is definitely gone. Uh, Miracle of the light water. All right, so I'll go in more detail about that later, but I just want to share that real quick now. We have possibly, as predicted, 1,000 foot tsunami hitting the West Coast, right? And that's not just psychics like me that are predicting this. I predicted this well before the beginning of this year, and a lot of other psychics are starting to see it now. And now we're starting to see all this sun activity, all the earthquakes, volcanic activity. We've already had a tsunami. So they're like, well, we already had the tsunami that you predicted. No, even though that was the biggest tsunami, and I talked about that in another show, literally the biggest tsunami that had been recorded in current times. There's evidence of lots larger tsunamis that have hit the United States. But in current times, that's the largest tsunami that's been documented that we got from the quake that hit in Russia, right? And caused that tsunami to basically spread from Russia all the way across the Pacific. So we know that they tell us what they're going to do, right? They were telegraphing that earlier because I think they ramped that earthquake up. And wow, they don't like Russia a lot, so it happened right there in Russia. Happened close to where they have their nuclear sub base. So we know that these guys, tell us what they're going to do. So I'm going to show you how they have been lighting up news with articles of the 1,000-foot tsunami. And we literally had almost a 1,700-foot tsunami for real in Alaska in this last week. So hold on to your hats. We're going to go into a lot of stuff. We're also going to talk about Melania. Is she Russian royalty? That's interesting. That would be very interesting, right? So that might be why it seems like Vladimir Putin and Donnie Trump are buddies, right? So they got something. They've been kind of hiding a little bit. And we're going to talk about that because there's a lot of stuff in that, guys. There's a lot of stuff, and Melania being royalty. Wow. All right, so let's jump in. First of all, we're going to talk about the big hurricane, the fastest hurricane from in the Atlantic from the point of just a tropical storm to a Cat 5, right? Like something like 24 hours. So unbelievable. We saw something similar last year, but that was Caribbean, but in the Atlantic, right? So in the Caribbean, that happened in the Caribbean. So the Atlantic now has the fastest, growing. And so I predicted there would be Cat 5s last year. This year, I'm predicting they're going to be a lot worse. So this one's already worse than a Cat 5. I think it was like 202 mile per hour gusts. That's way beyond Cat 5, right? We need a whole new category for these superstorms that are coming, guys, right? And it's not going to get much better. So you guys that are on the East Coast, Florida, New Orleans, and Texas coastline, it's going to get a little rough for you, right? And I say a little rough, I mean it's going to get catastrophic, actually. So that's what we're going to see probably in the latter half of the hurricane season. Probably September is going to be gangbusters for hurricanes. So that's what I've been seeing. That's one of the reasons why I got out of Florida and got to high ground. Now we'll talk. Let's go ahead and look at some of this. So quite substantial. We're gonna go into Weatherman Plus. He's been very, very accurate in his predictions, and he is predicting that September is going to see big time hurricane activity. So, is that the case? Will it be that? Does consciousness have an effect on this? Absolutely, it does. Right now, they're trying to create consciousness. They, being the deep state, the Luciferians, the negative entities, and so forth. See, I say negative entities, and I'm not going to go to the ET thing, but anyway, these negative entities, along with the deep state, puppeteers, and then the puppets below them, we're going to see them try and make us believe. And if we believe, you guys are finding out our consciousness is very powerful. I've been showing you guys this for years and years and years. How I've shown you how I direct weather. All right, to a great extent. Although their game is they're upping their game. That happened last year with Hurricane Helene, right? We almost found out the hard way with Hurricane Milton, right? But I believe the good guys got involved at last second and caused that to downgrade very quickly. Thank God for those people in Tampa, because otherwise they would have been devastated. And a lot of people hung out, because most people hang out for these storms. I didn't hang out for the storm that happened with Hurricane Helene. I had before. I was directing a lot of those storms off the coast, calming them down. I was calming. Hurricane Helene had it way off the coast. And then it was like, I remember I was waiting for my wife to come in from a trip. And the wind did something really crazy. So I'm very, very sensitive to energies, right? So the wind like cracked like I've never heard it before in any of these hurricanes. And I knew there was like some serious manipulation. It was beyond my control at that point. So I packed up and met my wife at the airport. We did not go back to our home. We headed for we headed other places to the East Coast, St. Pete area. And it was devastating, as you guys know. You saw all the videos that I put out there. My wife lost her car and all kind of crazy stuff. So, and so for 6-7 months, we were living in a place that was devastated. The landlords were trying to get it back up to speed, and the last month that we were there, they finally got everything working again. Right. So it was devastating. So we're going to see far worse. So I said last year that I saw a hurricane devastating Miami and then going straight up the coast, and devastating all the way up the coast. This year I see it. I said it would go right up the middle of Florida, but this year I'm adjusting it to the more eastern. So it's going to like run massive hurricane run up the east coast of Florida. That's what I'm seeing. I've been seeing it for a while. And devastating even Mar-a-Lago. Very potentially will be devastating. And they want to devastate everything about Trump, right? So they're going to come after his home, I believe, right? So, and of course, a lot of Floridians are going to suffer from that as well. Because we know that sometimes when they want to go after one person, they'll take out hundreds or thousands to get one person, right? So that's the way this evil group works. Now, it is promising that we're seeing this hurricane right now, Hurricane Aaron, that is moving off the coast of the United States, because it looked like it was barreling in. Now it's wobbling. And if things change, which they do often, when it comes to deep state manipulations, this thing could go further west and cause damage along the coast, or even jam into the coast, which of course they want to do that, but has the up until now, I think the good guys have basically been keeping their hurricanes at bay, but it's kind of like getting mortared. Like I've been in combat, and we would get mortared, and they get closer and closer and closer. All right, they get more accurate. I think we're seeing that right now. I think we're seeing they're upping their game, they're fine-tuning their manipulation equipment, and they're getting it to the point where they're going to bring it into some devastating results. All right, so while the East Coast is getting hammered, there's potential of the West Coast getting hammered as well. But before we go into that, let me look at sharing this video. So yeah, so put it up here in StreamYard because it works much better there because you guys can actually hear it. All right, so let me share the screen. I got it ready. It's ready to go live. So Weatherman Plus, like I said, very spiritual guy. He does an exceptional job of bringing us information that is true.
Everybody, matter of fact, is going to get a lot bigger than it has already. And the wind field is really going to expand. It's threatening the Bahamas with chances for hurricane force wind gusts. Also, the east coast of the U.S. This is getting closer and closer towards that western side of the cone, just like we said days ago. Matter of fact, the ensembles is showing this is going to shift even further towards the west, according to the European. Now, another thing that's about to happen for Aaron is in a very moist pocket. Wind shear is going down. There is going to be some dry air. It might have to fight as it takes that northward push, but I'm showing it could combat that dust and it could fight that dry air. But at the same time, Major Hurricane Aaron is about to rapid intensify once again, even giving it a good run for another Cat 5. Now, that's very important because.
All right, so I want you to see some of these tracks. You see this track right here? It's going right into Georgia. Because I was feeling that today that Georgia had a potential of being hit. So it's just a potential. It's a, everything is, there's potential outcomes for everything, guys. You know that. You can think, well, I want to go make a protein shake, but maybe I'd like to just have a protein bar, or maybe I'll just eat a yogurt that has protein in it. So there's different, outcomes, and as you're going to get one, you can change your mind and get another, right? So that's kind of what happens on a consciousness scale with a lot of this stuff. So a lot of you guys want absolutes. You don't get absolutes in the real world. You should know that by now. You're a grown-up, right? So this is the same thing with consciousness and bringing in realities. Now, these realities, as you see right now, is pushing this storm out to sea. A fish hurricane, and this is a monster storm. So we want this to stay out to sea, so we can work together and make that happen. But there are elements, as you're going to start to see, that want this thing to cause damage because they like that. They're psychopaths, and they Luciferians and so forth, with a little bit of ET thrown in, right? Fallen angel type stuff. They like this stuff, and they like to cause people to fear, because when you fear and they're telegraphing to you that this thing has the potential of coming close to the coast and causing damage, some of you are going to fear. And every time you're out of the love vibration, you cause something else to happen, right? That's why there's so many different potentialities that are out there. Your consciousness, regardless of whether you want something to happen, it is determined by what you focus on. You can say, well, I didn't want that to come in. Well, did you focus on it when they said there's a potential that it could come in? Yeah, I did actually. Yeah. Okay. So you have to stay in that love vibration. All of us are working on that, myself included, right? If you're not in that love vibration, you're going to give them the energy that they want to create. they create with our fear, with our anger, and so forth. And they create the reality. So they constantly bombard us in the news, which they completely control and operate, with negative information. And then they have their little minions come out, and political types and so forth, Hollywood and rock stars and so forth. They add their negativity to the mix as well, guys. All right. So and then of course we're taught this, and you're taught that, oh no, that's not real, that you could actually, have some kind of, effect on an outcome. How many of you have prayed for someone that was close to death or had problems, and then there was a miracle where this person just somehow, some way, beyond what the doctor said, again, other groups that focus our consciousness in a certain direction, but with a lot of people focusing and praying, we've caused some really good outcomes, right? So I've been part of those. I've helped that with a lot of people over time. So it's the same thing with everything in our reality, including this storm, Aaron, right? So there is the possibility that this thing can still be turned, right, and cause some damage. Of course, they were going to do that. They were always going to do that, but there has been a lot of white hat activity. Their game is getting better, but these guys still have, as we know, as we've seen, they still have extremely effective weapon systems.
The higher the strength this hurricane gets, a lot stronger it's going to be when it goes by the East Coast than forecasted. Even National Hurricane Center says that the wind probabilities are probably lower than they should be for the East Coast. So I'm sure the latest information in this video, what you can expect from Major Hurricane Aaron and the next wave coming right behind it. Now, if you take a look at the atmosphere that Hurricane Aaron is in, you can see the big moist pockets. So you have the dry air. This is at the higher altitudes at 500 millibar level. And you can see all the outflow that is coming out of Aaron combating all that dust. Just a great moist pocket that it is in.
So look how it is zigzagging. All right, you go back here. It was up here, and then it came down, and it zigzagged back. It zigzagged over here. It zigzagged up, and is it going to zigzag back over in that direction? Definitely a possibility, because it is wobbling, right? It is wobbling, and it could start to push further west and further south again. And if it does that, it's going to end up causing some problems along the east coast of the United States.
It is ready to intensify. Right now, it's still going through an eye wall replacement, and that is very important. The sooner this does an eye wall replacement, the sooner this will get up the road and be potentially a Cat 5 once again. Now, Hurricane Aaron will get a lot bigger, and it's already gotten bigger, everyone. This is expected to get triple, if not 4 times its size.
4 times the size that you see it right there. 4. That's going to be like, probably impacting all the entire East Coast all at once, right? And don't take this just because it's not hitting. It's not going to do any damage, because remember, Hurricane Helene was 100 miles off the coast of Florida, and it caused massive flooding. Like generational stuff that has not been seen for generations, guys. And then, of course, it went up into North Carolina and caused all that crazy flooding up there. Yeah, this was not that was normal, right? No. So can they do the same thing with this storm? Remains to be seen. But right behind it, there's another one that's creeping in, and if it goes, there are some models that are pushing it down along the San Juan Islands and so forth, and going into the Gulf and becoming a monster in the Gulf, and then hitting somewhere over here, right? Or like I've been predicting. So see how this basically is going up like this? That's definitely the track that I saw for hitting Miami and then going up, right? So will the next one be the one? Just like, artillery shells, they're launching artillery shells. eventually they start to dial it in and get them in, guys. So we're counting on the good guys. We're counting on good information coming in this direction, which I'm trying to do. We're counting on consciousness, which, you know, I've trained a lot of people over the years how to use their consciousness, and we've been able to push these storms around. But they, like I said last year, somehow they overcame that. So we have to redouble our efforts. Maybe there's some kind of HARP. I got that there was some HARP. There's some kind of new HARP system that they have that is able to overcome the consciousness realm. And of course, they have their witches and warlocks and all that kind of stuff. They're doing their thing as well, guys. So it is a battle on another plane of consciousness. Most people have no clue about this, unfortunately. I teach all this stuff in my courses. A lot of you guys, just by listening to me, have upped your capabilities. So let's hope that this continues. Well, I don't have to hope that it's going to continue. I know it's going to continue, but at what point do they get away with some catastrophic event? They're going to get away with a lot more before we're done.
By the time it goes up that East Coast, where waves could be anywhere from a maximum of 100 towards 50 feet way out into the ocean, but this will cause a lot of problems. Now, the latest information shows that the tropical storm force winds is reaching 205 miles outside of the center, and the hurricane force winds did grow from 25 miles to 45 miles outside of the center, and is going to grow even more. It's going to get a lot bigger. So look at this. This is the latest track that they are going by, and this is on the eastern side from what I can see. I think it's going to be a lot tighter, more towards that western side still, everybody. So picture this. You see all these big wind fields right here. Picture this further towards the west. So showing you could see tropical storm force winds anywhere from South Carolina towards the coast of Virginia. Also, it is the 5th hurricane to form before August 17th. It is the first Cat 5 in the Atlantic since Hurricane Dean in 2007, if you can remember that one. Plus the second lowest pressure, 20 degrees north this early, of 915 millibars. Behind Hurricane Allen, 1980, 911 millibars. Latest advisory as of 5 p.m. is still showing that west-northwest track. Just like I told you, it's not going to continue over the next few days.
All right. So this is where he throws in his out. All right. Aaron has been growing in size, and that trend is likely to continue in the next few days. Expanding wind field will result in rough ocean conditions. It should be noted 34-50 knots and likely risk of winds occurring. This is because the forecast wind of Aaron is considerably larger than average compared to the wind field. So it is wobbling. It is wobbling, and there is the potential that this thing will wobble closer to the coast. And if it's growing in size by 2, 3, 4 times, it, like he showed you, it's going to have possible damaging winds well into the mainland of the United States for a very significant area. So that's where this is. All we can do right now is just keep an eye on this thing and watch and pray and hope that it won't get to the point where it's going to cause unbelievable damage, right? Like everyone in Florida suffered, right? So they got away with something that was not. So they don't have to run a hurricane into the coast, into an area they want to destruct. Now they just make these things monsters on a level that most people are, it's off the coast, like I was last year, and it caused it was high tide. They had it high tide. It came in and basically caused, like I said, generational flooding problem. So it is probably something they're like, oh, that worked out pretty good. Let's do it some more, right? So I feel very confident, unfortunately, that they're going to do this some more, and it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better, guys, right? Because this is what happens. Your consciousness is going to get pressed, and in that pressure, it's going to explode upwards and out, right? Not for everybody. Some people are going to succumb, unfortunately, but for a lot of people, this is going to be very, very traumatic these next couple of years. This is the beginning of a lot of stuff that's coming at us, right? So you got to be on your game. And so let's look at some more stuff. So the sun is really hitting the Earth. Space weather satellites are going offline during critical solar maximum period. So the sun is really beaming out some serious energy at the Earth. The Earth is absorbing this energy, and eventually it's gonna come out in massive earthquakes, tsunamis, and volcanoes. We've already started to see this, but we're just beginning. Now, a lot of you are like, why would the sun, why would the Earth do this? The Earth and the sun are getting us ready for this consciousness shift. Now, and then you're like, well, why would God send 1,000-foot tsunami into the West Coast? This is consciousness. All right. So God gives us free will, and our consciousness, the Earth's consciousness, is rising as well. And some of you aren't going to like this, but there are some people and some groups that are fleas on the Earth. And to make this consciousness shift for the Earth, it has to basically cleanse. Now, you're like, fleas? Who are fleas? Well, yes, the entire West Coast, right? The Northeast of the United States. So there's lots of places that could get cleansed, unfortunately. And this is the way things work. Now, if you look at, I'll give you an example. Just popped into my mind when I was thinking about this. I used to live in the country in South Carolina, Columbia. We had nice land up there. Woods, right? There was a creek that went through part of our property. There was a larger creek that was just below our property. And just to the north of us was an old chicken farm that had a pond. So the pond was for basically, and it was spring fed. So the pond had fish in it. It was really cool. I used to fish in it. And it was basically for this huge chicken coop, because chickens, I guess, drink a lot of water, especially in the summer. So it was gone by the time, our family rolled around in there, but we were friends with with the people there. Now our dogs were friends with the dogs of this couple that lived in this house, and they would run together, and it was fun seeing them all together. But they would all go into the pond and swim, and we're like, why are they swimming in the pond? And the guy that had been there for a long time said, the reason why they do that is so they get rid of the fleas and the ticks. They drown them, right? And the only place where the fleas and ticks were around their ears. So we had to constantly clean their ears, but that was the only place we had to focus on, because they would swim in the pond and drown the fleas, right? So the Earth is going to be like that soon, right? I'm sorry if some of you guys don't like that, but and believe that God would never do that. I don't know. Maybe God wouldn't do that. I don't think God would do that, but I think consciousness of humanity would, right? We've already seen consciousness of humanity do this to us, and we accept it, right? They tell us what they're going to do. I'm going to show you that in a minute. And if we don't go against that and say, no, I don't want that, then it happens, right? So let's look at the space weather. I'm going to have to share this. I'm showing it here, but I know I have to share it into StreamYard. So give me just a second to post it in StreamYard so that you guys can hear it. I've learned, right? You guys whined. I was like, I don't like them whining. So let me get the right stuff here. All right. So you're not missing anything yet. We should make sure I got the right one in here. Let me know if you guys can hear this. Let me stop sharing that one, and I'll bring the other one in. There we go. This should work.
It's understandable. If you name a kid Boom Shakalaka, that could be tough.
All right. So Stefan Burns, I guess they did a little online poll. If he has a kid, what's he going to name his kid? Because he's always saying boom shakalaka. So it's kind of funny. So they're like, had a poll of what his first kid's name would be, and it's boom shakalaka. So that's what he's talking about there.
That could be tough, perhaps. It's increasing. The no's at 54% now. Okay. Anyways. Hey everyone, geophysicist Stefan Burns here. We have a significant update because there is no satellite data coming in from our advanced probes in space at the L1 point. And this is our Discover satellite and also our ACE satellite. And they let us know what's happening with the solar wind. And these satellites were launched back in 1997, I believe, for ACE, and then also for 2015 for Discover. And they effectively give us a heads up as to what type of space weather is headed our way. Well, they're both offline now. So effectively, we're riding blind. We do have our SOHO space weather data, but it's not comprehensive, and it's a very old satellite, and it's just not the best. So we effectively...
All right. So we're having problems. What was that thing where they're Houston? We have a problem, right? So Houston, you never wanted to hear that, and if you heard that, that means things are really bad. All right. So Houston, we have a problem. We have satellites down. So did they get fried, or did they get? Is there just a lot of solar energy that's working in there? So if they're fried, then we're riding blind right now, pretty much, and that seems to be what they want. They want us to be riding blind. So you guys know that my prediction thing that I saw was like in the very hot summer months was when I saw the tsunami come. Now, so I talked about the tsunami coming. Now the tsunami won't be that big everywhere along the West Coast. Some places it will be blocked to a certain extent. Some places it will come in heavier, higher, right? Higher, very high. So now, in the beginning stages, because I knew that we had time, I told everybody, yeah, maybe 100 feet. If you're, a little bit higher, you're probably good. But you need to just trust your intuition, right? Don't depend on Mike. And so I need to let you guys be informed. I've seen this thing coming for years, and I saw an unbelievably massive tsunami hitting the Northern California area, and like the Sacramento. I see Sacramento getting hit by the tsunami. So Sacramento is like at 837 feet at the highest point. So now, again, consciousness can change. It's like, no, I don't really like that. I don't want that to happen. And then enough people get involved. Do you really think the people of, California, Oregon, and Washington on the coastal plains where they're very liberal, do you think that they're going to get involved in this? Mm-mm. All right, you guys that are living further. Now, where's Gavin Newsom? He's in Sacramento, right? Will he be in Sacramento? I doubt it, because they know it's coming. They're going to do this. They're going to do this. What have they been doing to California already? They've been burning California. You think they won't do a tsunami? They'll cleanse. They'll just take it all out, and then they rebuild it. So, now you're probably saying, well, what makes you think, Psychic Boy, that's going to happen? Well, let's start to look. So when I have these, these insights, this remote view, psychic, insights and so forth, I look for different things to tell me that I'm on track. And we have a lot of that, unfortunately. We have a lot of that that's starting to come in now. Now, let's look at some of that, and I'm going to bring that up, and you're going to see there's multiple things out there right now that are giving us information about that. So let's look at this, and then I'm going to show you a lot more. So they start doing this stuff like you're going to see here. Oh yeah, this is silky. I gotta share this onto into my StreamYard. So let me do that while I'm talking. So so this is basically on the pulse with Silky. She does really good research. I know you guys, because she had low subscribers, and I said, why does she have low subscribers? So I think a lot of you guys went over there. Of course, you know, information is really good, so a lot of people just started going over there. Not so much that I would, you know, have that much of an effect, but sometimes I do, because you guys are because you guys really want to know. You want to know what I know, right? People want to know, and that's good, because they should be wanting to know. And so let's see, do we have it now? Still keeps going over there. Let me. So yep, the internet sometimes is not all that easy, and so for me, being a one-man show, it's definitely not that easy. So somebody, you know, does this for other people, and they come on and do these shows. And I don't know, maybe you guys kind of like that I'm a one-man show. That way it doesn't get manipulated by anybody. It's like in some ways that's good, but maybe in the future we'll have something better for you guys, hopefully. All right. Oh my God, it's like friggin' keeps going back to this one thing, even though I delete it over and over and trying to get it out. So I know. So some of you guys are like super critical too. You're like, you have no idea of doing a show like this. You've never done it, but you're pretty critical. And it's like, so, but I think a lot of you guys are like pretty nice about, you know, doing this. So let me drag and drop it. Hopefully that'll work. Yeah.
Point, and this is
it is just friggin' locked in on this. I am friggin' totally pissed off. Right. And after, I'm the guy that talks about staying in love vibration, but it is not working. So anyway, I'm just going to bring up the picture of it and just kind of show you, because I've listened to it. I can just, like, you know, give you guys insights of what she's actually talking about. And I haven't lost her because I was just like deleting everything so I could try and get her information in there. All right. There we go. All right, I'm just gonna share the screen because it's way too complicated, evidently, for my little brain when it comes to this. And sometimes I just, you know, front load it. Works a lot better that way. So this is Silky. So there was like this, as you see here, there was a landslide in Alaska, and it caused a massive tsunami. At first, they thought it was like, you know, 1,000 feet. Sound familiar? Now they're saying it's upwards of 1,640 feet, and they've done the, I guess, measurements and so forth, and that is true. It was that. Now, all the way out here on Harbor Island, there was like some kayakers that were hanging out, and they basically had this thing come in and hit them. So you see where this little black dotted line is? That's the piece that fell in, and it drug all this stuff and filled in this bay and caused this massive tsunami, like you see here. So they took the measurements, and that's 1,000 meters or 1,695 feet. And it was like about that, 2,000 feet or so in width. and then it went way out into the bay. So the bay, basically, let's see if we see that. So there's pictures of it. This is way, way out from where that happened. So it traveled all the way down that sound, as you guys could see in this picture. So it just raised the water massively and then exited out here. So it traveled all the way through there and, went up. So just that little bit of slice right there that fell into the water caused this tsunami that raged all the way through there. Now, just north of here, I think is Juneau. It's not showing it.
In some areas. And let's start with this before I show you all the other pictures and maps, and we can hear the mountain.
So I guess they have like they could hear the mountain roaring. They also had seismographs that basically recorded the tsunami, all this crazy stuff. So it's already starting. They're already starting to show us some of the stuff. It's happening for real. Like I said, the sun is being activated. The Earth is being activated, and we're going to move into this this consciousness field. But this it's going to be there's going to be some difficulties. All right, for some people, not for everybody, but for some people. So here it is. Scientists warn of 1,000-foot mega tsunami that could kill millions in minutes. Now, you guys know that I said that when this tsunami comes, it will probably come in the middle of the night. That's how they like to do it, because then no one gets the warning, or if they do get the warning, they're so sleepy-eyed that they can't react fast enough, and it takes out a lot of people. Now, the numbers of people are quite substantial. Now, they've been talking about this back in May of 18 May. So here it is, 21 hours ago, Hindustan Times, mega tsunami warning issued as Cascadia earthquake could impact millions in U.S. 1,000-foot tsunami could wipe out large parts of America. Major tsunami threat looms over U.S. Pacific coast, experts say, and then on and on and on. So 1,000-foot wave, 1,000-foot tsunami. Few will remember this earthquake, but something far worse is looming. So let's look at and I highly recommend, here's another guy, the Canadian earthquake. You should follow this guy, because this guy has been very accurate in his predictions. Very, very accurate. So let's go down a little bit and look at the commentary. So also interesting to note, I made remarks on the previous article stating that the death numbers were understated. And in a separate tweet, I stated they would be in the millions. Notice this is the new UK-based news article. So he's predicting, like I've been predicting, many millions. So he's saying well over 100 million is likely within a month or so. So why is he saying within a month or so? Because when this hits, it will destroy infrastructure. There will be people that are injured, trapped. They won't be able to get to everybody. Just imagine just like an earthquake, because this could set off the San Andreas as well, same time frame. And I've said I saw that as well. So, and not just in San Andreas, there's multiple earthquake zones. I think like 3 of them. I see 3 of them being activated. So he's saying, 100 million is likely within a month or so. So somebody's asking, my sister is in LA, how devastated will LA be? Says, I don't think LA will get the full 1,000-foot tsunami. That might be more NorCal, Northern California. So my prediction of it being a massive tsunami going all the way up into Northern California. So I even saw it like coming to Lake Tahoe. I remember like in a dream where I was like running up these mountains where I lived in Lake Tahoe at the time. But I really don't think it's going to get that far. If it gets that far, we're really in trouble. But maybe, who knows? Maybe, because if it's like, 1,700 feet or more, that's basically going to take out Sacramento, and it will actually come up to like the foothill area around Lake Tahoe. That's crazy. So possible, right? So he goes on. They talk about it. If Cascadia causes tsunami to head west from U.S. coast, and Culebra, this is the one he's been predicting, causes tsunami. Now he says that he thinks he thought it was going to be next year, but he's moving his timeline up. He's moving his timeline up to March of next year. And then there's people are asking, will there be foreshocks and so forth that will give people a clue? And he says yes. That's usually when a mega earthquake comes. There's usually some foreshocks. That happened, of course, with the one in Russia. Now, I think the one in Russia was like I've said, and many other people have said, was helped to get bigger, much bigger, right? And whether it was really that big or not, remains to be seen. Now, another thing. Now, let me pull up these articles of all of these scientists, like you saw there, where it was just a window. Let's actually look at some of these. So it says right here, here's the AI overview. Yes, scientists have been issuing warnings. Now they're saying the Cascadia subduction zone, a nearly 600-mile fault line, has a 15% probability of a magnitude 8 point. So 15% of 8.0. No, it's going to be much bigger, but they're saying within the next 50 years. They've been saying within the next 50 years for 50 years, right? So 1,000-foot tsunami could wipe out large parts of United States of America. These U.S. states face maximum threat from monster wave. So it goes down the Pacific Ocean, North American plate. According to Virginia Tech researchers led by geoscientist Tina Dura. So there's that 1% chance. And then they say coastal states like Washington, Oregon, and Northern California can potentially be devastated, while Alaska and Hawaii could also be in danger, right? From and there could be multiple earthquakes and tsunamis going off, and counter tsunamis and canceling each other out. They're not as big. So whatever happens remains to be seen. Mega tsunami warning: could a single earthquake drown Seattle and Portland? So both of those are fairly well inland, of course. So it says waves could tower to 1,000 feet, like I've been talking about. That seems to be what they're focused on, right? 1,000 feet. So I guess that's what they're telling us, and that's what they plan to do. I don't know. We'll see. So they talk about history and how we're overdue and all kind of crazy stuff. If such an earthquake and tsunami were to strike, the consequences would extend beyond immediate destruction. So they're saying more than 30 ball in it, right? Low ball in it, right? So there's a lot of this information. You guys can go and play with this and get more educated. U.S. scientists sound dire tsunami warning. U.S. scientist. All right, so this was today. So it's coming in hot and heavy, guys, this information. They're getting everybody prepped. So again, like I said, they can create these events through fear. All right, so if a lot of people are like, and I know a lot of you probably watching me are like, holy shit, oh, we're doomed. We're doomed. So if that's your energy right now, then you're giving that energy to the deep state, which is trying to focus your energy into creating this. So remember, we are creator beings, right? We do have the energy and the love and the focus of God. And if you take that focus, like I've been saying for decades now, I've been teaching this for decades. If you take that energy of your consciousness, of your thoughts, and focus it in a certain direction, then you will attract that. You will attract that. If you have a lot of people attracting that, it's going to happen, probably more likely than not. All right, so I don't know what makes this actually come to pass, but I've seen it. Now, throughout history, all of the prophets and so forth, the reason why they basically sounded these alarms and informed everybody is so that people could change the outcome, right? So we can change this outcome. We can make it lesser. It could be even worse, right? It could not happen at all. So and what is going to cause that? It's going to be caused by consciousness, right? Whatever the outcome is, it's a consciousness thing. So we attract to us what we most think about. And you say, well, I'm not thinking about a tsunami like, washing over me. I live on the West Coast. And it's like, well, you have a lot of people around you. You might be good. But if you have, and a lot of you guys have said this, you're surrounded by people that don't believe any of this stuff and then think you're a Lulu, knucklehead. If you get the desire to go somewhere during a certain time frame, maybe during this time frame, right? And you get like somebody calls you up out of the blue, says, I want you to come over here and visit me. I don't know why, but I want you to come visit me. You better get on a plane or you better get in your car and you better go. Right? So, and who knows, maybe you'll get there and it's like, you're really, and it doesn't happen. It could, that can happen too. Right. And then you're like, oh, Mike, he just like made me all fearful for nothing. Right. Yeah, maybe there was enough people that, downsized it or made it not happen. And they're like, I don't believe any of that. All right. So, well, then stay there when you get the call to get. All right. See how that works out. All right, guys. What else I got in here? Oh yeah, I got a lot of stuff actually left. Let me run through this stuff. This is magnificent stuff. So let's go positive. Okay. But fortunately, right. Yeah, it took a little while to like get up there, but there it is. Putin-Trump summit. No deal on Ukraine, and no consequences for Putin. All right, so that's the New York Times, basically trying to shift consciousness, right? Because these two guys were like buds, right? They're like buds. Red carpet. Putin got like a escort with F-22 Raptors or something going back home. So these guys are like, looking out for each other. They have a good relationship. Trump is basically saying, okay, I think it's Monday. I think it's tomorrow where Europe had people come over. Right. So maybe the Europeans are like, well, you're going to do it because if you don't do it, then U.S. is going to pull out and they're not going to fund this. And we don't have enough money to fund your ass. Right. You're going to fail. You're failing already. And you're going to fail even harder and faster because we can't afford it. Maybe. I don't know. Raping their Europeans for years, and maybe they'll just rape them some more. They'll tax 25 most places, value added tax another 20%. So they don't get much. They barely survive. And then, of course, they brought in illegal aliens by monster numbers and to replace them. So we'll see how this works out for the Europeans. But we're seeing Donnie and Putin are basically saying, screw you guys. We're going to like, make this happen with or without you. All right. So the next cool thing, inside report. Putin's gift to Melania sends shockwaves through Alaska summit. The Romanov emerald, power, legacy, and the ring that could shake the world. Right. So, ready to uncover the truth? Here we go. A Trump and Putin meeting in Alaska. Putin reportedly gave a gift to Melania Trump of this Romanov emerald and diamond. So the Romanovs were the ones that basically were the last Tsar Nicholas II, I believe, and supposedly they came in, the communist, we could say communist or we could say deep state, which would mean the same thing. They came in and basically killed them. They said, we're going to just have you go somewhere else. We're going to make sure we got everything. So, go ahead and give up Russia. Everything's going to be fine. Not as many people are going to die. And then we'll send you off to Europe somewhere. And they're like, okay. And then they came in and basically murdered them. Right. But a couple of the girls got away. Anastasia, I think, was one of them, and then maybe one other. So I think I have another link where I'll talk about it. So let that sink in, because it sounds like Melania is descended from one of them. Very interesting. According to multiple circulating sources, Russian President Vladimir Putin is preparing to gift Lady Melania a rare emerald diamond, direct ties to Romanov dynasty. Let that sink in. A priceless jewel whispered to be part of a lost imperial collection, possibly tied to Melania's own ancestral past, about to be handed over by one of the world's most enigmatic leaders during a global power summit. A gift or a message described as an emerald. Now, the first thing I got was like the Oz, the Emerald City. All right, so emerald surrounded by white diamonds reportedly originated from Romanov era, like we talked about. Online speculation hints that the ring may be linked to a family line whose assets were seized during past revolutions, including whispers of Rothschild involvement and silent bloodlines erased by old world elites. The Queen's move. In chess, the Queen protects the king. With Melania known to speak some Russian and long rumored to happen at prior events, Esther takes on a deep meaning. Happens, it could signal a shift in tone, tactics, and power. So think of how long Donald Trump and Melania have been together. So I think he's been with her more than all the other wives combined. I don't know. I have to look at the numbers, but he's been with her quite some time. And think that maybe he got involved with her to help protect her and bring her to the level where she is at now. So very interesting. Emerald City unmasked. Now, social media theorists and geopolitical analysts alike are already spinning the narrative into something bigger. This is what I think this is. I think this is something bigger. The end of the old financial order, the end of Oz, right? The symbolic return of stolen bloodline power, the unveiling of the man behind the curtain, the deep state, Rothschilds and so forth, because Tsar Nicholas II didn't want to go along with the Khazarian mafia. And they'd been taking over all of Europe, and they resisted, and so they were murdered, right? The unveiling of the man behind the curtain who has controlled global systems for over a century. Are we entering the Emerald City? It's possible. All eyes on Alaska. Its legacy versus empire, bloodline versus institution. All right, so very, very interesting. So Melania is a Romanov. Her grandmother is Anastasia. One of Melania's side has been doctored. She is Slovenian, Russian. So this person says, I am friends with Mindy Romanov. 3 Romanov boys were put on a ship from Russia, assisted packages to the U.S. White Hat operation. How about that? Melania is more important than we know. All right, so there's a lot of speculation about that, but I think it's fantastic. So here we are. We have Russia basically destroying the Nazis of Ukraine. Basically, the Rothschilds of Europe and so forth are trying to, take over Ukraine and use it as a proxy to destroy Russia once again. It's not happening. So the Azov are the crack troops of Ukraine, and they were basically focused in the area where Russia was really gobbling up ground. So they put the Azov, which are imagine the best of the German military, being shifted to fight the Russians, yet they're waving white flags and they're being decimated, right? Russia elite forces unleash a brutal bloodbath. So you can this is Ruslan Belov. He's one of many people that I follow every day to see what's going on in Russia. Russia is destroying the Ukrainian army. The Ukrainian army occasionally has some success, but it's not very long lived. And across the battlefront, which is probably over 1,000 miles, Russia is just keeps pushing and pushing. And a lot of people say, well, they haven't made much progress. So it's a game of basically destruction of the Ukrainian army. And once it's destructed, the Russian army can just go wherever they want in Ukraine. We're getting to that point. So it's basically letting the Ukrainian army decimate itself, trying to hold ground, attack like the Hitler Nazis used to do, and basically destroy themselves. And that's what we're seeing right now with Azov Battalion and others. So it's moving along. It's moving along in the right direction. GOP criticizes Massachusetts governor over home-based program. So they Eagles carrying. Now these articles, the whole administration here, we're now they're diverting money to bring in illegal aliens and pay their everything. It's still ongoing. It's still happening. In Massachusetts, governor is paying $100 million to buy them, keep their illegal alien, replacing American citizens, keeping that thing going. So Trump's mega bill targets outdated court ruling to end catch and release chaos at the border. Now this is important because this is taking down the pedophilia that comes from the border crossing, because we know that the delete. So I have someone in the group that basically she had a vision where we're not going to call them elites anymore. We're going to call them the deletes, and that's what we're doing with them, right? So the deletes like their children because, unlike us, they can control their consciousness very easily, and of course, they feast on them as well, right? So more and more people are starting to understand that. We've been talking about that for at least 6 years now. I've had so many guests on that have talked about this. It's just staggering to me that more people don't realize this. All right, so that's what's going on at the border. Gavin Newsom's sales pitch against Donald Trump is ludicrous and idiotic. He's basically saying that Donald Trump shouldn't get a peace prize medal because he's not doing so. Yes, he has done like several different things. He stopped the Pakistani-Indian war. He stopped another side war, actually two more. One that was happening in Eastern Europe, I believe, and I can't think of another one. But of course, he's trying to broker peace here with Russia and Ukraine. So those are the stipulations for receiving a peace prize. So Gavin Newsom, who's probably going to run when the tsunami comes, because he's going to know about it when it's going to come. So he'll be someplace safe while most Californians are going to perish. So that's your governor, and you guys know he's corrupt, but he's still there. So that's on you, California. All right. So again, Zelensky says he will not give up Donetsk region to Putin to end the Ukraine war. Right. So we're going to find out what Europe says about that. And if Europe says we agree with Zelensky, Europe's going to get the bag. Donald Trump is going to say, you got it then. And then Putin is going to continue, probably behind the scenes, the U.S. will start to trade with Russia quietly, right? And give them the money they need to, push this war forward and win it. All right, so I've said that for a long time, and that's pretty much what I believe is coming. So many things to cover, right? I mean, that's just a fraction of what's going on in the world. It is just staggering. Every time I get on to do research, I'm like rabbit hole after rabbit hole. There's just so much. I mean, I don't know if you guys are like doing that as well. I hope so. But if all you're doing is just listen to me, that helps. But definitely, if you're not intuitive and you've been watching me for a while, you should be by now. But if you're not, get in there and get my courses. They're super cheap now. Become the master of your own reality. That's where you learn the intuition, you learn the meditations and so forth. And then, of course, remote viewing, remote influencing, like we could do with the tsunami not happening, like we could do with these storms not happening or getting pushed away into fish storms instead of killing and destroying innocent people's lives. So yeah, we have a lot going forward. And if we're not working together to defeat the deep state, they are going to continue to defeat us, right? So at what point will people, really rise up against these evil ones, all right? Because we can defeat them. We could defeat them so fast, it'd make your head spin if we all got together on this. All right, guys, lots of love. Stay in the love vibration always. And if you feel yourself getting out of that vibration, work your way back. I'll be working my way back to you, babe. And that's the way you think about love. Be very loving. And when the deep state plays their games, stay in the love vibration and send them love, because that'll destroy them. All right. It's worked very well for me. And so we'll see you guys next time.